All right. Good evening. Ooh, that's what happens when you try to be cute. Um, Welcome to the Composite. I am the host, Deanne Battle. We are in season 3, and this is episode 14. Last episode, I took the opportunity to read from some of my fiction, and then I was like, oh, it's May 1st. When did I start the show? I started the show on May 3rd. So this is the 1 year anniversary. Yes, we are in season 3, but this is the 1 year anniversary of the beginning of the composite. So I've already started celebrating, but I decided to celebrate live with lipstick on the teeth. Sexy. Join us. So, a full year of this talk show as it continues to evolve. What have I learned? I've been saying it a lot lately, but showing up for yourself, even when no one else is there, is super important. I haven't, like a troll kid. Okay, like that. Okay, so I've learned that, even though haven't necessarily gotten the response that I've wanted thus far, the responses that I've gotten have been positive, right? And so it's encouraged me to keep going. Interesting facts about me, contradictory facts. I'm very persistent, but I get discouraged quite easily. So that usually looks like I'll, gather my little feathers together and I'll stop clucking and then I'll crow, right? And then I'll look around and see, well, what was the response? And, if the response was not what I wanted, like I said, I get easily discouraged. I'll go back to the drawing board, right? And then I'll say, okay, well, was it the color of the feathers? Was it like the timing of when I drew the feathers in? I'll examine it. And then like I said, I'm persistent. I'll put together another offering and then I'll try again. But it does take, that initial like, oh, this didn't work. And then, you know, going back to the nest, regrouping. I'm just going to beat this bird metaphor here to death. But gathering, in the nest, regrouping, and then coming back. And so, my fear doing this was, okay, well, if I have a couple of episodes and people watch a little bit, like, then it'll feel like, oh, there's an expectation that it'll be decent or that it'll be whatever. And then I'll get nervous and I won't continue to produce. But as a writer and a creator, just generally, I've been investing so much more in process. And that's why I did an MFA program, because it's like, yeah, fiction. It's like, I always liked, okay, when I got to the end of something, but it's like, well, what does that mean when you're not getting to the end of things as frequently as you want to? You're not published yet. You have to find a different way for the process to give you joy. And so my MFA program very much sparked. I mean, I always enjoyed, like, the world building and the research, but when you're doing it alongside of professionals, which is weird to say as an artist, but when you have professional mentors taking your work seriously, critiquing it, taking it apart, but in service of making it stronger, when you start to see your work the way they see it, it brings a fresh set of eyes to your process. And I've been enjoying that so much more as a writer. And so that is the spirit that I've tried to bring to this experiment, enterprise, whatever it is that I'm doing here, is that spirit of curiosity and world building and exploration. And so I'm grateful that I haven't given up on it. I'm grateful that we're a year in and that we're still going, and that there's more in the pipeline. And I'm hoping that it will include more people. Like whether it's just somebody hopping on the live, or collaborations, or more reviews of books and movies and things like that. Yeah, it's an amorphous sort of space, the way I've created it. So I'm just celebrating what else can, happen here. Okay, so I think what I'll do is definitely want to pull some cards. Don't know what the question is yet. Read a poem or two and then log off. But just wanted to take an official moment to celebrate the 2 subscribers that I have on YouTube, and the handful of views that I have here on Instagram. But I am very appreciative of all of it. All right. Let's see here. Alrighty. I think that's enough shuffling. Okay. And for anyone that's uninitiated, that hasn't been here before, I think it was in the 2nd season. Maybe it was in the 1st season. I don't know. At a certain point, I did start pulling tarot cards. People are like, oh, that's woo-woo, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that I'll say 2 things I'll say to combat that. One, I like data points, right? So it can be, if it's a scientific study with modern technology, I like that. If it's astrology, if it's our ancient technology, I'll check that out too. I like as much information as I can get to help make decisions. I buy into it, right? We know that the, tides and the rotation of planets and stuff, it's all controlled by a very delicate alchemy. And so it's hard for me, and I've mentioned this before, to believe that, okay, you can have these gravitational forces affecting these planets, these massive heavenly bodies, but not affect me. So there's that. The second thing is, I like data points. And then, I forgot the other thing. Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything. So I pull cards. I forgot, I had a phrase ready. Although I will say though, I started really getting into tarot, I want to say 3 years ago, and it feels like the more that I look around, the more people know stuff, or just I've noticed that, when I'm at work or different places, it's if it's a Mercury retrograde and, technology's not working, more people know it's retrograde, chill out, it'll be fine. It's oh, okay. So I think we're at a particular inflection point in terms of people's openness and willingness to invest in the ancient technologies. And I got that from a counselor that I had, and I was well, explain that. He said, yeah, divination, shamanism, all of this or whatever, it's seen as, again, esoteric, woo-woo, new agey, but these were technologies that people's based on what they saw in the seasons, what they saw in the heavens, what they saw cyclically around them. So they're technologies. I think the difference is now we have different processes and different language around how does one prove a hypothesis? How does one get to the essence of the core, right, of what you're trying to figure out? But, another quote I'm going to butcher here, the difference between, I think, the supernatural and the scientific is just like the exploration or something like that. It's just, you're just looking, you already have observed the phenomenon happening. You're just looking for the explanation. The explanation is the science, right? It doesn't actually change what's happened. So that's my spiel. What do I want to ask here? All right. So finished a year of consistently doing a talk show. All right. So what? Because community is important. What can we do to grow the community here at the Composite? Okay, spirit guides, ancestors, Orisha. What can we do to grow the community here at the Composite? I think that's a good question. To grow the community here at this show. Aha. Thank you. 2 more cards. To grow the community here. Not really falling out as much as they usually do. Yeah, sometimes, So sometimes people say it's like a bad thing or a good thing if it takes a long time for a card to fall. And some people just, they pull the card out. I just am waiting to see what falls. So one more. All right. Thank you. All right. So we have 3 minor arcana here. So we have the 6 of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, and the 9 of Pentacles, right? So, hold on. A delicate balance between lipstick and a solo cup. Okay. All right. So, individually, right, the 6 of Pentacles is about generosity, but reciprocal generosity. So it's like I give to you, you give to me, right? So that's what we're looking at here. Ace of Swords, right? So that's an opportunity for communication, I believe, or to open up a line of communication to tell the truth. Let me double check that. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I have the general associations with the cards, but I haven't memorized it. And you know what? I deliberately haven't memorized it. Here's why. Because I think over the years, anytime I have a new hobby, it's like I have to invest in it, like hardcore. It's like, okay, well, what's the newest gear that I can afford? Who's an influencer and who's an expert in the field, and it's just like, well, what are the newest techniques and stuff like that? And then what I found is that, like, I kill the joy of the hobby before I really like get into it. And so I was like, listen, it's going to take me a long while, most likely, to memorize what these tarot cards mean, but I'm just going to let the hobby develop as it develops and not try to be like, not try to master it, which is a little bit painful to say, but I'm just at a point in my life where it's like, I would like mastery to come from wisdom as opposed to endless toil and strife and worry. All right. So let's see. Ace of Swords. Yes. New ideas, new projects, clarity of thought, communication, concentration, breakthroughs. Okay, so that's what we have here. So new thoughts, new ideas, breakthroughs. And this here, the Nine of Pentacles, is independence, wealth, luxury. So if we put it all together, it's like, what can we do to grow the community here? So I know, like, whatever it is, it's going to have to, nose is itching. It's going to have to involve some give and take between this platform and someone else's, right? So how can I get other people involved in this exchange of ideas, right? That's a great question. And then, luxury, independence, like the Nine of Pentacles is like rich auntie stereotype. Let me look that up to see how I can connect that in. Okay, so when we're looking at the Nine of Pentacles, it's independence and success gained through hard work and prosperity, wealth. Okay, so essentially, I think what this is saying is that, like, the more I'm able to take this channel and engage with others reciprocally, in terms of how we exchange ideas and communicate, then that's going to really lead to the success of the channel. All right. So yeah, I've got to figure out how to cross-pollinate here and work with other people and other channels, which I do want to do, and I have advertised, but there are just so many competing elements, right? I think it's called the attention economy. The attention economy is quite scarce. I mean, it's very hard to keep eyes on you, right? To keep people's attention. I mean, I've probably said this before as well, but even just like as a teacher, it used to be like, okay, I can get, a solid 10 minutes of notes in for students before I lose everybody and they all want to go to the bathroom or they're all on their phone. It's like 6 minutes now, if you're lucky. You can talk to them about code integration or MLA formatting or whatever it is you're doing. You've got 5 or 6 minutes and then they're gone. So the attention economy is very scarce, but I appreciate Spirit and my guides and ancestors letting me know what the deal is. So the deal is, gotta really network with this channel here to bring more eyes to it, which totally makes sense. And as you see, the cards said something very practical, something I probably didn't even need to pull the cards for. But learning to trust your intuition. You see it in real time. Take the lesson. Okay, so I'm going to read a couple of poems because I've been doing that the last few episodes. And I like integrating literature here. Poem of the day. Sorry, these are just some somber poems here. I'm like, oh, do I really want to go out like this? All right. Oh, wow. All right. Yeah, the one for today is pretty somber. Sorry. Okay. So this one, just based on the conversation that I was just having to the sky, to you. This is by Edgar Allan Poe, and it's called Sonnet to Science. So, very fortuitous here. Sonnet to Science. Science, true daughter of old time thou art, who alterest all things with thy peering eyes. Why preyest thou thus upon the poet's heart, vulture whose wings are dull realities? How should he love thee, or how deem thee wise, who wouldst not leave him in his wandering to seek for treasure in the jeweled skies, albeit he soared with an undaunted wing? Hast thou not dragged Diana from her car, and driven the Hamadryad? Oh, I forgot what that was. Okay. Woodland folktale creature, I believe. And driven the Hamadryad from the wood to seek a shelter in some happier star. Hast thou not torn the Naiad from her flood, the elfin from the green grass, and from me the summer dream beneath the tamarind tree? That's the first time I've ever seen that from Poe. Interesting. And that's Sonnet to Science. So that's interesting. Yeah. And one more. All right. So this site, poem a day. Oh, you okay, Zena? Sorry, my dog is choking. Hey, Zena. What's the matter? Okay, good dog. Okay, in this one, it looks like it has Native Hawaiian in it. I don't want to butcher this poem. Sorry about that. Someone actually called me. Surprise, surprise. All right, so we are not going to read the poem of today. However, we are going to pick a random one here. I'm not familiar with this poet, but I like the title. It's called The Moon Rose Over the Bay. I Had a Lot of Feelings. I'm going to click on that. Let's see what that's about. Okay, so this is The Moon Rose Over the Bay. I Had a Lot of Feelings by Donica Kelly. I am taken with the hot animal of my skin, grateful to swing my limbs and have them move as I intend, though my knee, though my shoulder, though something is torn or tearing. Today, a dozen squid dead on the harbor beach, mostly one buried, one with skin empty as a shell and hollow feeling, and though the tentacles look soft, I do not touch them. I imagine they were startled to find themselves in the sun. I imagine the tide simply went out without them. I imagine they cannot feel the black flies charting the raised hills of their eyes. I write my name in the sand, Donica Kelly. I watch 18 seagulls skim the sandbar and lift low in the sky. I pick up a pebble that looks like a green egg. To ditch the lily, I say, I am in love. To the Jeep parked haphazardly on the narrow street, I am in love. To the roses, white petals rimmed brown, to the yellow-lined pavement, to the house trimmed in gold, I am in love. I shout with the rough calculus of walking. Just let me find my way back. Let me move like a tide come in. Her couplets here are complicated. Yeah, this is one where, like, if I was teaching this poem, we would do a couple of different activities on here just to see how she does her groupings. Very cool. Yeah, I was unfamiliar with this poet. All right, so that was Edgar Allan Poe and Donica Kelly. And this has been Season 3, Episode 14 of the Composite. Here is to Year 1, because we're classy, in the solo cup. And to another year, more and more and more. All right? Have a great night. Take care.